Good evening and welcome to Corporate News. This is the news show where we recap the events of last week's Shadowrun Corporate Sins episode, as well as getting into some of the details and the goings-on of the metagame that we've built wrapped around Corporate Sins. That is what I am the GM of, whereas we have Lauren GMing the Corporate Sins game itself. So, I do want to start off by saying, roll for it. Welcome, and thank you very, very much for the hosting. We appreciate having you all over there. Some of your viewers may recognize me. I used to play in the D&D portion of Roll For It before they swapped over to Shadowrun, and I moved out here to Seattle to help start Hyper RPG. For those of you that do not know, Hyper RPG is a premium variety full studio here on Twitch based out of Seattle and highlighting a lot of the really cool things coming out of the area. Ryan Ironwolf, thank you for resubscribing. Silent Suyum, yes, I forgot my elf ears. You might notice a little bit of a croak in my throat. Hey, Poak Gay, thank you for being a friend, computer, and following. I did forget my elf ears. I have a little bit of a croak right now because I am a little under the weather. Doing my best, though. And we have the lovely and talented Cheryl here joining us to recap the show. I'm just explaining what Hyper RPG is and then a bit about the metagame and Corporate Sins itself. So Cheryl is here to recap the events of last week's episode, and I'm going to let you dive right in and do that.
All right, so for those folks who are new to us, again, this is Hyper RPG, and I'm one of the actors on Shadowrun, Corporate Sins. You can find me as Ma1nfram3 in chat most days, but for tonight, I'm Ma1nfram, and I'm going to bring you through some of the events of last week. We started out by finishing up a run we had in London. So we were asked to visit London by my compatriots in MFEC, which stands for Mordecai it stands for Ma1nfram Mordecai Fang Elsie Cromwell. No, it's not the best branding, it's what we've got. But Cromwell was tracking down an old acquaintance, and he asked us to help him and go over there. So we were in London. If you turn on last week, you'll find us cheering on a fight. The under 10 championships. His friend, the half-pint pummeler, is like a dwarf, but he's very fierce, fighting a queen clobber. Again, it's the branding she's got. Maybe not the most creative in the world, but they fought. Long story short, the half-pint pummeler took some bad hits, and Cromwell surreptitiously used his new bear powers to take on Pip's wounds as his own, which allowed Pip the energy he needed to win, which I don't think Pip was totally on board with, but he had no choice but to take the help, and they had a very powerful series of glances between each other about life and love or whatever, and we left London. We came back to Seattle, we had some time. I got a mysterious package from Ares. They've provided me with a beta version of a drone. I don't actually know how to fly yet, so that's something I will be learning after my next run. But thank you to Ares for that generous and unexpected gift.
Very cool.
And speaking of generous and unexpected universal situations, we were at our favorite haunt, the Rapid Rabbits, and discovered an abandoned van painted with a shark, airbrushed with a majestic shark, to be perfectly honest.
Majestic
truly shark.
Truly majestic.
And if you're new to us, our street mage shaman. Yeah, I always forget that word. It's hard to, I don't know, shaman. It's a weird word. But our street shaman's sort of totem spirit is this shark. We call him Sharky. You might see him. There's, you might almost say that there might be a shark attack in chat at any time. At any time. Shark attacks are a constant risk.
It's true.
So he just happens to find an abandoned stick shift van in an alley. And so Mordecai took that on as his own. We don't know where it came from. We don't question it. I do question Mordecai's choice to drive that van at 5 miles an hour. I feel like they could do better than that, but that's fine. He still hasn't apologized for damaging my van. But that is beside the point also. Oops, shocks indeed. Yes.
Yeah.
See,
Oops.
it's a constant risk.
It's constant.
Risk. But you can see the majesty for yourself. It's a little overwhelming, and more so even in person. Let me tell you. So we're doing our thing, and we were approached by a new Johnson.
They're clarifying that this came from Renraku. That is not necessarily known to the runners.
Interesting.
But it was a gift.
I might
from
forget
Renraku.
that when I leave this room legally. But for now, between us, thank you, Renraku. You made him very happy.
And while we're at it, thank you all for the resubs that are coming through. I don't want to interrupt the story to say thank you to each and everyone.
Thank you all for resubbing.
Thank you
we
for the
very
resubs.
much appreciate you.
Yes.
We also appreciate subs in general, even if they're not read.
That's true.
We appreciate all subs and follows.
And occasionally sandwiches.
And sandwiches, yes. Always sandwiches.
Yes.
It's a shocking lack of sandwiches in Shadowrun in general. Like, how often do we stop for sandwiches? I can't do it now because we're in a theme park, which I'll get to in a second, and they cost like 20 nuyen.
Yeah, it would be like a corn dog for 20 nuyen instead of
I like corn
a sandwich.
Dogs, but so, anyway, we were approached by a new Johnson. We met them in a fancy club in Seattle, except we couldn't let Mordecai in because he cruised up in the van and it was not fitting with the dress code of the club, and it's fine. And we were, it was established that Horizon would like to hire us to visit their new theme park, Sunset Island, and troubleshoot some mysterious circumstances surrounding ride operations at the park, which is about to open in a week's time. So, long story short, they got us out to the park, they put us up in a nice hotel, which, a lot of us just don't get that kind of treatment. We don't, and seeing all those families together, it just, it's nice that some people have those sorts of things. And we decided that we were going to go into the park and do some surveillance, just do some ground reconnaissance. Mordecai refused to come on the rides because he's not always tall enough to ride, and apparently that makes him a little bit upset. I assured him that Horizon is a very metahuman friendly company, and I am sure they have ride options for those of us who are not as height optimized, perhaps.
Sure. Yeah. Probably. You would think.
You would think.
It is the sixth world after all.
It is, yes. That sounds like a song cue, but I'm gonna stay away from that. So myself, and Fang unfortunately was not able to join us for the beginning of this trip because she violated the terms of her parole by leaving the country for several weeks. She was kind of grounded working on that. So with Mordecai sulking in the hotel room, after a brief cannonball incident from Cromwell, Elsie, and I went to the park, rode westward ho, and I decided to set up shop there. They went to Little Planet, which is another ride, and these are like crazy. They're kind of like, I think in the fifth world you've got like the Harry Potter rides at that Universal place. It's like that. It's like there's like 3D stuff going on, VR stuff, physical stuff. They're very multi-sensory rides. So they were on one of those rides, which is kind of like a roller coaster in VR, all shoved into one. When the glitch happened, when the same thing they had seen before, the whole ride popped off the matrix and the ride stopped. And so I got an alert and I hopped onto the matrix to see what it was. And there was this dome of mystery around the ride on the matrix, all this code and stuff. And it turns out it was a technomancer, a really angry technomancer that wanted revenge on Horizon and was willing to put innocent lives at risk to get that revenge. And I get it, Corpse. I know there's some corporate executives in the room, but at times you can be a little questionable. But regardless of the Corpse questionable behavior, I think it is a very fragile glass house you live in if you are willing to put children at risk for your own revenge. So I was not pleased with this situation, and I felt it was important to do everything in my power to stop them. Now, I don't know how the technomancer knew that I was related to Elsie and Cromwell, but she figured it out, and she released their restraints. The ride was upside down, and Elsie has got really great reflexes and grabbed onto the restraint, and Cromwell did not. And he fell, was it 20 meters or something?
It was about that.
A lot.
Yeah, I think it was about 20 meters.
He fell a lot.
And
it was, I think, essentially knocked unconscious immediately. I have to reconstruct all this. I was not there. I was across the park in a different ride in the Matrix. So I didn't get to see them drop out, but I heard about it. Poor Cromwell took lots and lots of damage. And so now, just picture this. We've got Cromwell in a Cromwell-shaped crater on the ground. We've got Elsie hanging on by one arm, and there's 6 Girl Scouts still strapped into the ride upside down. This is when Mordecai starts showing up. He's astrally projecting. He told me
that.
Oh.
I think, well, normally we don't have the notifications here, but I thought it might be nice tonight.
1 die for Fang. From one street samurai to another, use it in good health.
Very nice. So to explain that, throughout the course of the game, you can buy dice for the runners to add to a dice pool that they can pull from anytime they need to make a roll.
Yeah, it's new if you're just tuning in after a couple weeks. The dice pool we have.
Yeah, we're going to have buckets. We're going to do actual buckets of dice. So say you needed to make a particular roll in the Matrix, you could pull one of those dice permanently from that pool, add it for that one roll, and then that die is gone. That's why they're only $10, though. So
and they helped a lot last week, especially me, and anyone who donated to help me fight this evil technomancer, I thank you from the bottom of my elven heart. And
we're trying this in lieu of the edge system, at least for now. We think that this adds a little bit more fun to it without breaking anything, and it's so far so good.
Rules the rules. You ask if Cromwell has anything against the ground. As a matter of fact, he did berserk against the ground once it damaged him that much. So they were definitely fighting the ground in Cromwell. Bless him. So we, Mordecai, he tells me he projected to me first. I don't know. But then he realized that something was wrong, and he went over to Little Planet and managed to levitate Elsie down while sending the spirit of man to heal Cromwell. But then he ran out of energy, so the healing stopped, and then Cromwell fell down again. And then that apparently happened several times. Cromwell was having a very rough time. Long story short, I tried to take the Decker out. There were sprites. It was a very fierce battle. And I realized that my deck was very close to bricking. We had taken a lot of damage, and I made the decision. She threatened the Corpse Scouts, and I made the decision that any additional amount I could distract her, but any longer I could buy whatever they needed over there. It was worth it. So I doubled down. I marked her, and I got one last attack in, but then she bricked my deck, which, if you're new to Shadowrun, when a Decker's deck is bricked, that's what they use to access the Matrix. And so when you're in VR, you immediately drop out of the Matrix, you take damage, and your deck is useless until it's repaired.
And that is a big deal.
It's a very big deal. Ma1nfram3 can't remember the last time she let her deck get bricked. She's very protective of it, but this was...
It's kind of like having, in a fantasy game, having a fighter with one really good sword and no other real weapons lose that sword.
Or I understand you all like smartphones. It's like somebody just taking your smartphone and removing all of its functional parts and just giving it back to you. Useless.
Yeah.
And
it is now a brick.
It's
you
not
can hit
dead
things
forever.
With it
is not permanently bricked yet, but it needs repairs, and you got to be careful with those because critical glitching on repairs is very bad.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, over there, they came up with an elaborate scheme of creating an invisible barrier for Mordecai to catch the girls, and then there was a slide, and there was some classic Elsie and Mean Girls intimidation kind of stuff, and from what I understand, they managed to get the kids out safely. I sort of just broke down into tears because I'm working through some feelings that this entire... I wish I could have done better. I wish I could have taken the Technomancer out. I thought I was better than that. I know Cromwell's not particularly happy about the whole unconsciousness thing. That's never fun. And I think Elsie got some Corpse Scout cookies out of it, so she's probably doing the best of all of us.
Yeah, everybody likes Corpse Scout cookies.
That's what happened last week. So when I stopped fighting with the Technomancer, she pulled out, and enough that Horizon can come back in. Hyper Power, go!
Small Minions has some gold for Lauren. Give them hell, carrot.
Thank you.
It's going to be a long night.
Oh, it is going to be a long night. It is good. They've already gotten started with the gratuities for you guys.
Thank
so.
you. I, as Cheryl, am very excited and welcome that donation. And mainframe, it makes her a little bit uncomfortable. So I better go and get set up. But
thank you very,
see you
very
all in
much.
the shadows.
Yes. Good luck. Good luck. So now I do know, as part of the metagame, that we might be able to help using things in the metagame. You can purchase things for the Shadowrunners, such as the van. A couple of different corporations have expressed interest in possibly helping out with the cyberdeck situation. So we'll see how that all plays out as the run unfolds. No spoilers there. But let's dive into talking about the metagame itself. I've got the action point totals loaded up now. Any moment now. There we go. So Evo came in with 21 action points this week, coming from out of nowhere with that. Neonet has 16, not too far behind, while Ares, Horizon, and Wuxing each have 13 action points to spend. Seder Krupp has 12, while Renraku has 11. Shiwase 10 action points, As Technology 9, and Mitsuhama has 8 action points for this week. Now, of course, that doesn't include any action points that have been banked over the course of the last few weeks, because if a corporation doesn't spend all of their action points, they can hang on to them and stockpile them and use them all in one lump sum later, perhaps save up to buy a new market segment or something along those lines. Now, the green in my hair looks like lightning a little. Okay, sure, thanks. So, the corporate metagame itself is a game that we built around the Shadowrun corporate sins to make it a bit of a more interactive experience and give you all something to allow you to participate in the world that Ma1nfram3 inhabits and kind of give back to you a way to kind of play along. And so we built this metagame, and it is still very much in development. It is an ongoing process to build this game that we're constantly iterating on and constantly trying to improve and get closer to the vision that we have for it. So to that end, we've got the different role-played Shadowrun teams that each corporation can purchase every time that Ma1nfram3 is up for a new run, and a lucky winner gets to hire Ma1nfram3 themselves to do that run. There are a number of other purchases that corporations can make, including buying the team a new van, or even buying Ma1nfram3 a new cyber deck. There are also magical boons that can be had. The drone that Ma1nfram3 is going to be toying around with in the future episodes is another one of those purchasables. These are ways that we've tried to make the Corporate Sins role-playing game a bit more interactive with you all, and we're constantly working on improving that to make it very interactive. We want you to really feel like you have an impact on the world that our Shadowrun team from Corporate Sins is a part of. So I do have some news briefs from the different corporations from actions that they took last week during corporate news, and at the end of Corporate Sins, we make the rolls based on actions that the corporate heads are giving to me now, or starting now and ending at 8 o'clock tonight. They have to get all their actions into me, and then at the end of Corporate Sins, Zach and I go out, we make some rolls and adjust some numbers so that the corporations each get gains or losses in their appropriate subsidiary companies and branches and industries. And that's a portion of the metagame. Now, how you get involved is by becoming a subscriber, joining our Discord. I'm working on getting ways that just being a viewer can also affect the game, but the best way is to be a subscriber and join our Discord and join a corporation there. So once you join our Discord, you can talk to the moderators about which corporation you might like to be a part of, you might like to join, and join away. At that point, you'll be able to take part in the discussion of what actions each of your corporations is going to take on that given week and how it may affect the runners or how it may affect your standing within the metagame. So that's the bulk of that. I am going to read the press releases from last week's actions, starting with Mitsuhama.
Hello. Friend Computer welcomes a new thumper.
Waveform of the Transistor. Thank you for subscribing and welcome. Welcome to the Yojimbo. That is the spaceship here that I am casting from the bridge of the Yojimbo. And for those of you unaware or just joining us, this is Hyper RPG, a premium live streaming full studio here on Twitch, where we do a variety of shows, including Shadowrun Corporate Sins, which you're about to be able to watch. Later on in the week, we also have Battletech on Friday, which is, well, it's Death from Above. It is the spirit of Battletech. Oh my goodness, and a gratuity as well. Hang on just one moment.
Dice for Mordecai from MagiWorks, a division of #As Technology. The way to a better tomorrow, one mage at a time. Thank you, MageWorks and As Technology. So Death from Above, the very Battletech inspired RPG show with some of the strategy elements of the Battletech tabletop RPG game, where we take 3D printed mechs, they do battle, there's some role playing, and the battle mechs actually take damage. If they get hit by a PPC, we heat them up with a woodcutter and melt off some of that plastic. If they take some missiles, we take the Dremel tool to it. It's a lot of fun. But I say it is in the spirit of Battletech because we've also built a role-playing game up around that. So that's super cool. We've got Monday nights. We've just started a Valiant RPG, Valiant Comics. Very cool up-and-coming, or up-and-coming, noteworthy, I should say. Noteworthy comic book producer. Makes a lot of cool ones, like Faith is the very popular one that you hear a lot about these days. That's on Monday nights, and we have a variety of other shows, not just role-playing games, but that is a bit of our focus. So stay tuned, check in with the mods, subscribe and join our Discord, and I will now read the news. Mitsuhama last week announced the merger of two of their Matrix A subdivisions, and the first product of that merger. Google and Yahoo were merged together under the Mitsuhama Alphabet banner. Long has it been speculated that such a move would happen to strengthen both corporations. Shortly after, Google Yahoo announced the Mitsu Search Matrix search tool, making it the most powerful tool of its kind. Uses of Mitsu Search are already through the roof, all across the Sixth World, according to Mitsuhama. Neonet announced that Beyond Z, the famous entertainer recently hired by their media branch, is in a daring move shocked the industry, causing a shock of a different kind earlier today. Beyond Z was filmed running around naked inside, then outside a famous Neo-Tokyo nightclub, The Rabbit Hole, wrapped only in a Neonet banner, then passing out in a nearby gutter. Unsurprisingly, the scandalous trade became headline news on competing networks within minutes. Eyewitnesses explained that Beyond Z had been celebrating his arrival on Neo Media with friends at the Neonet-sponsored party and had been served a little Hurlgy mixed with normal beer as a prank. As Technology is pleased to announce the release of the Yakata. I do not know how to pronounce this. Thought I'd be able to. I apologize. I do not know how to pronounce that, and I will not brutalize it. Their most advanced line of automated production machines yet. Available in a wide variety of configurations, these machines are guaranteed to dramatically increase the efficiency of any production factory. Whether you're creating rugged military hardware, delicately designed microchips, or fashionable housewares, the Machina is the way to bring your factory into a better tomorrow. Later this week, I will be getting a lesson from Strix on how to pronounce that. Shadowrun celebrates last week's exciting new research and development product launch with a giveaway. Shadowrun is proud to announce a contest where one grand prize winner gets a free Panzer Streetwagen. The SK PSW is their new riot control and urban combat vehicle. The grand prize winner will be drawn randomly from already existing entries in the Shadowrun Schattenlaufer Index. Congratulations to that one lucky winner, and may this help you stay one step ahead. Ares, as the implementation of Ares' new testing initiative continues, public reaction remains mixed. A recent corporate news poll showed 40% of respondents thought it was an innovative and exciting move by Ares, 40% considered the move pandering and insulting, while 10% responded with looking forward to the 43rd season of Gotham. Not really sure why we included that as an option. That's it for the news bits for tonight. I will say once again that we are about to go into Shadowrun Corporate Sins. Yes, Damoon Rules, your math was wrong, and I had to edit it on the fly. We're about to go into Shadowrun Corporate Sins, the full-on role-playing game where a bunch of our local improv actors play Shadowrun with buckets of dice. You can affect the game now, not by buying them Edge, but by buying them additional dice to be used as they see fit when they have to make rolls. So if they need a little extra boost on a roll, they can pull from the dice pool that you have supplied them with for just $10 per die. And they can get that boost. So you can also give those bonuses to Lauren, of course, and make it a little bit harder on our fair team of runners. And don't forget, subscribers are able to join Discord and get in on the Corporate Sins metagame as well. So I believe that the runners are just about ready to join again. I'm just waiting for the signal from Joe. And we're good. So, without further ado, Shadowrun Corporate Sins. Enjoy, everyone.